today. You know, this is a special event for us. If you Google Ораторский турнир in Russian, then you'll find pictures of students making speeches in different years. Because the school, Promo-М, is the only school that has an event like this. No other schools have it. Some universities do, but not schools, so you are lucky. Sometimes we invite other students to compete with you because it is an open tournament. But because of the pandemic, we can't do it this year. So you're on your own to perform. Can you imagine that we have organized this tournament 15 times? This is the 16th. And maybe we should stop doing it. So maybe 15 times is enough? What do we need to be successful?
Hard work.
Work hard, one thing. Communicate, another thing. Also, you need to be able to think. So, do you agree that for success you need 3 things? Speak, you need to be able to speak, to think, and to work hard. And I think you have realized that while preparing your speech and while presenting your speech, you learn all these things. To think, to speak, and to work hard. Because we want you to be successful. And I hope you will be successful today. So I'll tell you first the criteria, how we are going to evaluate your speeches. Can you show the slide, please? So you can get 3 5s from us today. 5 number 1, you get if your speech is informative. What do I mean by informative? It means that the understanding of the quote is clear, so we know how you understand it. The position of the speaker, so if you agree or if you disagree or if you partially agree, is also clear. There are arguments and there are examples that are relevant. The opposed statement is also presented, and there is an example to prove it. And the length of the speech is also appropriate, so it shouldn't be too long and it shouldn't be too short. The second 5 you can get for persuasiveness. What does it mean? Да, убедительность речи, спасибо. Информативность, убедительность. So the first thing is structure. You have your introduction, you have conclusion, you have logic in your speech, and you make no logical mistakes. And you achieve the aim of your communication. Like you convince us, you persuade us, убеждаете нас by your speech. And the last criteria is the most important, is impressiveness. They are all important. But I want to speak about impressiveness. If you make mistakes in English, you lose points here, so no mistakes. Your speech should be clear and articulate. We should understand what you say, right? You use vocabulary that is interesting and diverse and age appropriate. So not too simple. You use the tone, the pace of your speech, the temp речи. You make pauses. So you use different techniques to present your speech. Remember the culture of public speaking. So you speak to the audience. You make them listen to your speech. And last but not least, no reading. If you read, you lose points. Я объясню по-русски, потому что я боюсь, что меня не все понимают, а хочется, чтобы вы услышали. Значит, мы понимаем, что ситуация волнительная. И мы допускаем, что в вашей руке может быть речь, или план речи, или телефон, да, то есть речь в электронном виде. Мы допускаем, что вы раз или 2 глянете в эту речь. Но это все, что мы допускаем. Если вы заглядываете чаще, или если вы, не дай бог, начинаете читать, то мы, соответственно, значительно снижаем критерий за впечатление речи, потому что это портит впечатление наше сильно. Да? Есть вопросы? Нет вопросов. Отлично. So members of the jury. I'll introduce the members of the jury, and that will cost a lot with Konstantin Olegovich's help. So members of the jury. Анастасия Дмитриевна, Konstantin Olegovich, and Platon Astachovsky. It is a tradition. You may ask, why is he here? What is he doing here? He's not a teacher. It is a tradition that we invite a school leaver to evaluate the performances. And he's the person who is not involved in preparing any speeches, so he can be objective. And еще один момент проговорю по-русски. Кто-то из нас был увлечен в той или иной степени в подготовку вашей речи. И ваш преподаватель, он не участвует в оценивании, то есть вас оценивают другие трое. Да, ну, я считаю, что это справедливо. Да? Свой труд мы как бы не оцениваем, оцениваем труд других. Окей?
Dear audience and the members of the jury, I would like to present to you my quote, "Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise," by Victor Hugo. He was a French writer, one of the main figures of French Romanticism, a well-known political and public figure of the 19th century. From my point of view, this quote means that everything bad that you're going through in your life will eventually end. Victor Hugo was trying to say that that you should always allow hope for a brighter day to be a motivating force in our darkest moments. Personally, I'm of the same opinion that even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. And one of the examples to illustrate this idea is a very famous book by Alexander Green, The Scarlet Sails. In this story, there was a girl named Asshole that always believed that a prince would come for her. And eventually he came, because the most precious dreams come true if you believe in them. Alexander Green showed that we should never give in to the despair, because it won't bring any positive emotions. So we should always believe and hope for the best. Only in that case, all your dreams will come true. However, some people may disagree with me, because sometimes our dreams don't come true, no matter how hard we try not to lose hope. I'd like to illustrate this idea with another example from literature. Erich Maria Remarque, The Three Comrades. The whole novel is filled with a mood of despair. Revealing the thoughts of the three comrades, Remarque conveys the despair of the lost generation. This is the story of the lost generation, the generation of people who went through the war. In the conditions of such a time, the acquaintances of the main characters take place. Robert LeCamp and Patricia Holman. Robbie and Pat find each other in what the war took away from them. Remarque shows true love. The hero dream of a future together, but everything ends when Robert finds out that his beloved is ill with tuberculosis. She has very little left to live. The mood of despair thrives in the novel once again. No doubt, I can't disagree that there are some examples in real life when the sun doesn't rise and you feel that life has betrayed you and your hopes. Still, I believe that without believing and hoping for the best, a person cannot live and go on. To summarize all things considered, the quote, "Even a darkest night will end and the sun will rise," is fair. Thank you.
Informativeness 5.
Hi. Persuasiveness.
Sorry? Okay, yes. Persuasiveness 5.
Hi. Impressiveness.
I will give 5 this time. However, too fast.
Yes, that's what I told you, remember.
Too fast, sweetie.
Take your time.
Yeah, do not rush.
Why have you chosen to be so fast? Are you nervous or what?
A little bit.
Oh, I see.
It feels like
She's
you were
afraid
shooting
she'll
with
forget
words.
something.
Yes, Tina Kandelaki. Just
Там все на спортивных каналах.
fantastic, but when you choose such a speed, you won't be able to get across the message that you want to say, because people, to understand when they can't see your speech, yes, they need pauses, they need some help from you. So some words, they are more important than the others, right? So with these techniques you help. This is what speakers do. They help the audience to understand what they want to say. And when they choose like this, like a train who just goes fast, it's just, oh, I want just to move away from this train, you know, like to protect myself. Anyway, your first effort, and it was
More than nice.
above average, I must say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear members of the jury and audience, I would like to present the quote, "Think of sweeter when the loss." I review this quote by Francis Scott Fitzgerald. I understand this quote like this: when we possess something good, we usually take this for granted. And when we lose it, only then we realize how good it was. I believe this quote refers not only to things, but people as well. I would like to prove that it's true. The things become more precious for or after they're lost forever. I know what I mean from my own experience. I know some people who didn't appreciate their friends, for example, and when they lost them, they regretted not have such friends anymore. One example is the story by Chekhov, Hope Alone. The storyline of the story is drama of one family. The husband is doctor who dies to trying to save patients. Too late, his wife realized what an outstanding and talented person the doctor was. She didn't appreciate his love and care. Other examples which come to my mind are from real life, outstanding people who become famous only after their death, such as Vincent van Gogh. People did appreciate their works and talents. He sold a single painting throughout his life. The artist often did not have of money. The artist did not have penny of others in his pocket by the end of life. His life, and his work become famous only after their death. Thanks for.
Okay, shall we evaluate speech informativeness? 4.
Дайте мне секунду. Speech informativeness 4. Нет, точнее, давайте не speech informativeness, а я в втором критерии поставлю. 5, yes, persuasiveness. 5. Yes, the second criterion. Persuasiveness.
5.
4. Yes, I didn't find logical the example with Van Gogh. That I don't think it's relevant to this quote. It's not like that when someone gets acknowledged after the death.
After their death, yeah.
It's just.
Well, that happens a lot.
It happens, but it's a little bit not like the quote that things are sweeter when they are lost, right? It's not
Always.
I'm trying to think.
Always.
This
well, I a little bit. I wasn't convinced that these things are. And impressiveness 4.
5.
У вас все пятерки, правильно?
Да.
И Платон у тебя тоже, да? Again 4. Well, yes, there were some moments, so that's why I have given 4.
I know it's it's not correct, but I love the way Hannah says the.
Yes.
Somehow, I love it. It just,
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you for your work. Please start. You're ready.
Dear audience and members of the jury, I'd like to present you my quote by Lewis Carroll. All what's really worth we do is what we do for others. Lewis Carroll is an English writer of 19th century. His most famous works are Alice in Wonderland and Alice Rose the Looking Glass. I understand this quote like this. You need to live not only for your well-being, otherwise life will be boring and gloomy. It is necessary to help and respect the other people. The more a person does at the call of the soul and not under conclusion for some reward, the more good things this person gets. And each person choose how to live and how to create their destiny to be evil and receive the evil around, or to be kind and see good and positive surround him or her. I agree this quote because if everyone does good things for other people, we can make this world a better place. We become happier ourselves as well. I'd like to illustrate this quote with Anton Gorky's The Legend of Donko. In the old days, they lived the tribe and brave and strong people, but stronger ones came and drove him into a swampy place. People began to get sick, lost the will to live. But he was a young man, a monk, who led the tribe out of the forest. People believed him and followed him. They walked for a long time. The path was difficult. People began to blame Danko. They wanted to kill him. Then the hero tore his chest out of a burning heart from it and raised it over his head and went forward. People followed him. The forest ended, Danko laughed and died, but he died happy because he helped a lot of people. Another great example in Circle of Short Stories, The Fate of Man. Andrew Sokolov went through the hell of the war and survived loss of his family, Need and the boy Alusha.
Andrew told the story.
Andrew told the boy what he was his father having made the boy happy. He himself regained the meaning of life. In conclusion, I'd like to say the more we do for others, the more meaningful our life becomes. Thank you.
Speaking.
Informative.
Why don't you start this time?
Speech informative is 5. Platon.
5 as well.
Persuasiveness. I'll put 4 here.
I'll put 5. Yeah, me too. 5.
I'll comment later. And impressiveness.
You know what? 5. Impressiveness. I like the way she sounds. She has grown so much.
Maybe I don't know the growth. But
Yeah.
what is your mark?
Impressiveness?
Yes.
I would say 5.
I'll say 4.
Okay.
And to tell the truth, I thought that I would gonna get closer to 3, because the beginning was nice. You sounded
It was
nicely.
better, yeah.
You sounded confident, like a speaker, and I like. She can speak, but the end it wasn't that impressive. You started making mistakes, and you forgot the speech. You just. That's why other aspects, like I have put 4 in other aspects too, because of the impression, the overall impression. So to the previous speaker, I told that you'd better do a little part nice than the whole speech that is bad. Do you remember this? Well, you had a good start. Then you can work that your whole speech is good. Okay? Thank you.
Hello, dear audience and member of jury. I would like to present a quote by a world-famous French writer Victor Hugo. Even the darkness night will end and the sun will rise. I could be wrong, but I think earned on me that one shouldn't carry on in life and give up too soon and go all the way to the very end. I agree with this quote because there are so many situations in life where a person give up soon, too soon, and does not go all the way. There are so many people in the world who give up soon because it seems too complicated and hard to move. There are often times when I give up because I didn't believe it will be better and didn't see any perspective. There are so many examples to illustrate these ideas. In his novel *The Mercury Doctor*, Alexander Kuprin described a man who gets ill and types. During his ill, another man take his post. All the family saving has spent on the medicine, and main character had to live in the damp basement. After that, his children ill. He is tired and depressed. He has nothing to do but to commit a suicide, and so he wandering to a remote house to put an end to his own life. But suddenly a doctor appears. He gave to the man hope and prescription for the medicine, in which it states that it is no one doctor but the Dr. Pirogov himself. This story tells that bad will end and the sun will rise. Another example is the story Danko, where Danko gets hopelessly wandering people who was the fare out of the forest. I understand that there are people who are different opinion. However, to me, it's a very pessimistic point of view. Nevertheless, I strongly believe that after rain will be sunshine. Maybe I'm just an optimist. In conclusion, I'd like to say that no matter how dark an umbrella it may sometimes seem, there is always a light at the end of tunnel. Thank you for attention.
Five. Persuasiveness. 5. Impressiveness.
4.
3, Misha. I need to comment. We both have to. You can start. What impressed you?
Despite all the mistakes he made, he was really self-confident, and the speech was good for me. It was
good for you. The speech was good.
It was structured, and
I think, yeah,
was really impressive.
I think I know what he's thinking about. Your speech was clear. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
You didn't have to struggle to understand what you're saying. That's a big plus. But still, you had some really bad mistakes.
Misha, you are with us since you were a baby, right? And we tried to teach you how to speak. And in some sentences, you sounded really English. Tell me the truth that it was.
Yeah.
You sounded English. But in some sentences, it was like, oh my gosh, what is he saying? Why, like...
That's true.
So that's why I'll give you 3. Because you can be perfect, but you have chosen not to be that perfect. And for me, you were 3. Thank you.
Hello, dear audience and members of the jury. I would like to present you the quote I chose. If you don't build castles in the air, you won't build anything on the ground. It is a quote by a world-famous French writer, Victor Hugo. He is most known for his book Notre Dame de Paris. As far as I understand, the meaning of this quote is that dreaming helps us to create some real and beautiful things. I can say that I completely agree with the author. Presenting the general view of your project in your hand is really helps in its creation. First of all, I think it concerns to professions. When you choose what are you going to do in your life, it's better to imagine what your job would be like. If you like it in your dreams, you will try to do your best to get such a job, and your dreaming can make you the best specialist in some profession you like. Moreover, we can see this from the psychological point of view. I take the view that when we are dreaming, our mind makes some plan on some level. So when you are in such situation, your mind will help you. And also, from what I know, there is a method for people with neurological diseases when they imagine how they can move their arms and legs as they absolutely healthy. Only after such meditation they do their exercises. This method helps them to get better results. Some people may not agree with me. They may say that you need to do work and don't waste time on dreaming. Because when you do work, you also get experience. And when you're dreaming, sometimes you only spoil the circumstance of affairs with impossible ideas. In conclusion, I can say that both sides are right in our own way. But if you manage to combine work and dreaming, that can help you. Thank you for your attention.
5.
4.
Explain, please.
I get some examples. I get some arguments. But explain, please. Yes. The beginning of his speech, the way how he started to explain, his understanding wasn't that clear to me, to tell the truth. And the end of his speech was much better. Like, I understood him, what he wants to say. But the first part of the speech was not that clear to me. That's why I give 4 for the informativeness of his speech. So, persuasiveness. Platon.
4.
4.
4.
4. From me, 4. Impressiveness of the speech.
4.
3.
Yes, I'll agree. It's 3. I understand why Platon gives 4. because he was the first. And it is difficult to speak. And it is difficult to use the microphone. I have learned it by my own experience. But he made mistakes. Some mistakes that were really bad. And the beginning of the speech was not that impressive. So it is 3 for me too.
Castles?
Castles? Well, I'm not going to give all the mistakes, but they were mistakes and they were bad. Okay, thank you. Once again, some more applause.
Hello, dear audience and members of jury. I would like to present a quote that I like: even the smallest person can change the course of the world. It's a quote by world-famous British writer John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. He must know for his trilogy The Lord of the Rings. As far as I understand, the meaning of the quote is that everyone, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, how they look, strong or weak, smart or stupid, can change the direction of the future. I completely agree with this quote because, as I have just said, no matter who you are, you can change the course of the future. Unfortunately, it works on both ways. One can easily change the course for the worse. There are good examples to illustrate this idea. Have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? It's a chaos theory. The butterfly effect is sensitive dependence on an initial condition in which a small change in one state of a deterministic nonlinear system can result in large differences in a later state. The butterfly effect concept is a broad term for a situation in which a small change is supposed to cause a large consequences. Gabriel Garcia Marquez was an unknown Latin American writer who lived in a country in which literature was quite uncommon. Thanks to his book 100 Years of Solitude, he was able to change the literature world of Colombia and all Latin American literature. Some people may not agree with me. They may say that one cannot be unknown for the world and change the course of the future. The problem thinks that one can only change the course of the future if the person is some famous scientist or star or significant person. But that just doesn't sound true to me. Think about it. How did famous people become famous? They were famous once, weren't they? No one knew about them. They were able to achieve a great success by themselves and automatically change the future. Everyone can change the future no matter what. Everyone can change the future, it's only a matter of will and readiness. In conclusion, I want to say to everyone in this room, do not worry about who you are and how and where you're from. Everyone can change the course of the future. Willingness and self-confidence are rather crucial. So, believe in yourself so that you never give up no matter what. And may you change the future for the best. Thanks for your attention.
What on?
5.
Mr. Chedmitrov? I'll put 5. What is missing?
Was not argumentative enough. Because, you know, it was so difficult. Maybe if I should have a speech in front of me. Maybe just a second.
We can't do this. He presented it to you. There's no point in reading now. Just that's what you heard. That's what you understood. That's fair.
Okay, but still.
5.
4.
I'll give 4. And impressiveness?
3.
3. You know, it's the case when your impressiveness influences all the other aspects so much that it's difficult to understand the quote. It's difficult to hear, to follow your speech. That's why I'm so confused. It's not only about Danny, it's about many people.
I'm going to speak to you, but what I'm going to say is relevant to all of the students. We teach you pronunciation. We have got a phonetic contest when we show you that it's important to pronounce the word clearly, to sound like a little bit English. You can't even pronounce the first phrase, dear members of the jury and the audience, without mistakes. This one phrase, can you say just properly? Moreover, Konstantin Olegovich, I think, have given you the voice recording of your speech. So how you should sound. You could have listened to him at least twice. Because you have learned it. But the way you have presented what you spoke, how you spoke, was bad. And you could have been better. That's the most disappointing thing.
I agree. The speech is really good, but because of
pronunciation. We speak to you about the please speak English, please sound English. And you sound, I don't know.
Hello, dear audience and members of the jury. I would like to present you a poem by John R. Tolkien's "Even the smallest person can change the course of the future." This quote comes from John Tolkien's trilogy, The Course of the Lodge of the Rings. In this trilogy, which describes a fictional world. But even in this fictional world, the authors touch on a large number of real problems. In my opinion, this quote means that the smallest and the most helpless person can influence following events. I agree with the author of this Tolkien statement. I believe that every goal is about taking small steps. One by one gets closer to the result. I would like to support my point of view an example from Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. In this novel, a hobbit called Frodo saves the entire universe of Middle-earth, changing the future completely. Although a hobbit is a halfling, this didn't stop Frodo from saving the universe. Nevertheless, despite his height and helplessness, the hobbit coped with the most difficult task. On the other hand, some people may not agree with Tolkien's statement. Everyone has their own perception and everyone understands this quote their own way. Perhaps they are convinced that it takes a big K, a powerful person, to open a heavy door or change the course of history, but I don't agree that. In conclusion, I would like to say that even though these are difficult, different points of view, I still believe that one doesn't have to be large to be important to change the course of history. Thank you for attention. Goodbye.
There's ways of rhetoric. 5. Impressive rhetoric. 4. At least it's your first experience. That's why I am personally a little bit kinder to you than to others. So the next one.
Hello, dear members of the jury and audience. I would like to introduce you to the quote that I have chosen. It's a quote by a world-famous British writer, Charles Dickens. He said, "A very little key will open a very heavy door." I could be wrong, but I believe that Dickens means that one should not neglect even the smallest possibilities. People can motivate themselves more easily once they realize that small steps can lead to a greater success. Moreover, this idea may increase people's self-confidence. People can realize that everything is in their hands. I agree with the author. Sometimes people think that in order to achieve something, one needs to come from a rich family or have a substantial background. However, I don't agree to that. Money don't mean everything. People can be successful and happy when they aren't that wealthy. Many famous football players and writers came from rather poor families. They worked hard and their dreams came true.
There are good examples to illustrate this idea. Take, for example, a book called Unrepeated Dreams by Orhan Adgözal. The author of this book was a disabled person. He had no legs. Therefore, the title of the book is similar to his life. The story of this book is as follows. Being a child, the main character was devastated by jokes and mockery. Step by step, he overcame the abuse and finally had a prosthesis mounted. Another great example is when athletes train for competitions. Just like most people, they start off with simple things. No matter how many times they fail or start losing faith, because of failures they keep on taking steps to a great victory. I understand that there are people who think otherwise. Perhaps they think that difficult and complicated tasks, goals, or whatsoever require relevant measures. I can understand their opinion. Nevertheless, I am still convinced that small steps lead to success. In conclusion, I would like to say the following. We all start somewhere and we all start somehow. What better place than here and what better time than now? Pick a key, no matter how small or little it is, and start moving towards your goal. Step by step, remember, consistency is your key. Thank you for your attention.
It's 5, David.
5. 5. Persuasiveness.
It's 5.
5.
5. Impressiveness of the speech.
5.
4.
4.
Okay, let me explain. Firstly, the speech was learned by heart, and she was really self-confident while speaking, and it really impressed me, and that's why I put her.
That's good. But there were some mistakes, and you need to work on your pronunciation. You can speak better, and some phrases you sound better, you know? Just not all your speech is not bad English, but some speech is better English, and some phrases, some sentences are not that good. So you can work and you can improve, okay?
So, hello dear members of jury and audience. So I have chosen a quote of a famous British writer, Charles Dickens, and it goes like that. Man cannot really improve himself without improving others. So I think that author tried to say to readers that one needs to accept their mistakes and just be yourself. So I absolutely agree with the author because I had the same problem. And my mom helped me having explained that if you don't make mistakes, you won't have your own life experience. And if you make mistakes, and people try to help you, it's wrong way to think that he or she tries to scare you. There is one good example to illustrate this idea. So let me ask you a question. What do teachers do?
Please. Can you answer? What do teachers do?
We teach, as I have said at the very beginning, we want you to be successful. And we want to give you tools so that you are successful.
Okay, in other words, teachers try to improve students' learning skills, soft skills, and so on. And in order improve students, teachers constantly improve themselves, their skills, their patience, their effectiveness, and etc. So, but there is some people who think otherwise. Perhaps they think that if they want to do something, they will do it without any mistakes and any help. people guess that they don't need any help and they can do everything by themselves. Nevertheless, I'm convinced that sometimes people do really good things without any help. And it's really impressive because you need to be really nice person, clever, to do everything by yourself. And in conclusion, I want to say that one shouldn't be afraid to do mistakes, and if you did it, you can analyze your situation or ask your friends and of course family. So thank you for attention and patience.
I'll just tell for Platon's sake that Katya is with us just for 2 weeks, maybe 3. So she has been with us, not for long. Yes,
Number
just
5.
not number. Why number?
Just 5.
5.
3, 5.
Анастасия Дмитриевна.
Absolutely.
Анастасия Дмитриевна.
4.
4. Persuasive rhetoric.
5.
Анастасия Дмитриевна.
5.
5. But there were some logic mistakes. You were not that consistent, последовательно. You looked at your phrase in one way, in some cases, and you a little bit changed the look, the way you understand the phrase in other cases. Do you understand? So that's why I have given you 4 in the first criteria. Well, I'll give you 5 in this one. Impressiveness.
5.
Katya, you know that you make mistakes, and you know that you work on your English. But I like the trick. I like the question. I like the way you tried to talk to us. You were like a speaker, close to the real speaker.
Yeah.
So that's why 5. But I heard all the mistakes. They were long, lots of them. But I'll cover my eyes, cover the camera. So 5 to you.
Hello, dear members of the jury and the audience. I would like to present you the quote that I have chosen. It is useless to meet revenge with revenge. It will heal nothing, by John Ronald Tolkien. I am of the opinion that these quotes mean that it makes no sense to reply to revenge with revenge, which doesn't make revenge a proper answer. It sometimes can even cause damage. I'm of the same opinion as author. Replying to revenge with revenge won't help resolve a conflict. First of all, it's stupid since it can last for a long time. I'm strongly convinced that revenge begets revenge. And secondly, one needs to be able to respond correctly to provocations and not take insignificant revenge on every minor occasion. Why insignificant, you might ask? It means that person could do something that looks like revenge, and you taking revenge in response. Now that just doesn't make sense. Some people may disagree with me because psychological people get some satisfaction from revenge and are proud of themselves, even in cases when it's not appropriate. There are many cases in imagined life and in literature too. I also want to say that revenge can be global, but there is aimed at one person. For example, of global revenge can be found in the story Dubrovsky by Pushkin. The main character's father died, and he realized that he was completely alone. He was also then reasonable for peasants. His revenge was revenge for everyone who was wrongly accused. He robbed the rich, but he didn't kill. However, in the end, events that follow discourage the desire for revenge. This proves that revenge is nothing but a big flow of emotions that have many unfortunate consequences. And I had met a less insignificant retribution in my life, a person who didn't like an action of someone secretly took revenge. Nevertheless, revenge provides psychological solace for a person, and in some cases revenge makes sense, but usually it can be replaced by something more reasonable. In conclusion, I believe that absolutely any revenge has a more reasonable way out. However, this is just my opinion, and anyone will understand this quote in different ways. Thank you for your attention.
Informativeness. Informativeness 5. Persuasiveness 4. I understand what you say, and I understand your examples, but probably the impression, probably the way you spoke, it spoiled my impression. Just you haven't structured your ideas maybe properly. Maybe you repeated some of the things several times. So just it isn't a 5 for me. Impressiveness. I speak first. 4. Christina. Well, first of all, try to. Well, we have the same opinion, but I'll comment a few words for you. Try to speak differently, like not in the same voice, not in the same manner. Try to stress some words.
Yeah, don't mumble.
Yes, because it's just.
We've been through that.
I'm not saying about mistakes, right? Try to change the manner, because I can't give you 3 here because you have learned and you have presented, but the way you presented ruined my impressions. That's why I have given you 4 in the other criteria.
It's because of the mumbling again. I told you that.
Thank you, Christina.
Yes,
please.
Hello, dear members of the jury and the audience. Allow me to present you the quote that I have chosen. I've been bent and broken, but I hope into a better shape is a quote from the novel Great Expectations by the famous British writer Charles Dickens. In my opinion, the main idea of the quote is that one has to go through hardships in order to become a better person. I rather agree with the quote. Let's look at it objectively. Many famous and successful people of all times admit that their path towards glory was a thorny one. There is this Latin proverb that says per aspera ad astra, through the thorns to the stars. The ubiquitousness of this thought proves that many powerful nations and wise people found it true. Therefore, there is a high possibility that it is true. Miguel de Cervantes was the author of the novel Don Quixote. His life was hard. He lost his arm in a battle and was taken prisoner afterwards. However, these trials and tribulations didn't break him at all. In fact, they forced his will to live and his spirit to the point where he didn't just come back to his normal life, but became a great writer. If this example hasn't convinced you, let me prove my point further. Even in the laws of physics, there is a proof to the point of the quote. Diamond and charcoal both consist of the same chemical element, carbon. The only difference between them is that diamonds have been exposed to extremely high pressure deep in the earth crust. As we all know, diamonds are way more valuable and harder than charcoal, which proved the point of the quote. It's also known that steel forged in fire is more durable than plain steel. Therefore, the more we test materials' limits, the stronger it gets. Some people may disagree with me, saying that hardship can strengthen a person as well as break. For example, in the movie Dead Poets Society, one of the main characters was told by his parents that he must become a doctor, though his only passion was acting. When, after a long argument with his father, he was forbidden to perform, he couldn't cope with it and committed suicide. Steel, of course, is forged in fire and diamonds under pressure, but dough only rises when it's left to rest. So the outcome of the actions applied to the object depends on the nature of the latter. All things considered, I rather agree with the quote. Every person is cast in different mold, so the applicability of the quote depends on the nature of the person in question. Thank you for your attention.
Informativeness. 5.
5.
5.
Persuasiveness. 5.
5.
5.
Impressiveness. 5.
5.
5.
I'm sorry for
Start from the very beginning.
Okay.
You don't remember anything.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And you
I'm sorry.
speak, like as if nothing has happened.
Yes.
Remember this, so not to make you more nervous. Just speak.
Hello, dear audience and members of the jury. I want to present you the quote by William Golding, "My yesterdays walk with me, they keep step, their grey faces that peer over my shoulder." Now that I'm thinking about it, I've come to realize that our past makes us a person who lives in the present. Our current actions will be reflected in the future, as well as the actions of others in our lives. We are our past, it affects us. As an example, I will take from behaviorism. As far as the saying goes, all problems come from childhood. It is in adolescence when person is formed as a personality, and any shock can be impacted on his future. After all, many mental disorders, problems with communications, and even disease appear because of traumatic experience in early years. The fact that childhood trauma affects a person's physical health in adulthood was also proved by Dr. Dorothy Berman. If a person was beaten by his parents, then in the future when he will build his own family, he will also be abused or will become abuser himself. Because if there was physical abuse, there also was emotional abuse, and child is like a sponge. He absorbs the bad and the good, and in the future he transfers it into his adult life. However, it is also possible to refute this quote. As an example, I will take the biography of author Olga Lvovna Sliosberg. She was several times in prison and even sentenced to the exile. But it didn't prevent her from living on. She continued to be kind and decent woman. In conclusion, I would like to say that our past influences us, and that's why we must do our best in the present to secure a past. Not to hurt other people, to set goals and achieve them, and to make the most of the time given to us. Of course, the past affects us, and it can be difficult to get over abuse in childhood. But look at Olga Lvovna. She is an example of person that survived after a difficult period in her time. Thank you for your attention, and I'm sorry for what I did before.
Well, the first one is 5. The informativeness is. It's a very complicated quote, by the way.
Yes, it was difficult to understand this quote.
I know.
I understood it one way, Natalia Mikhailovna other way, and Konstantin Oleyevich
The
other way. Yes.
I understood.
Анастасия Дмитриевна, informativeness.
5.
Platon,
5.
persuasiveness, Konstantin Ivанович.
5.
5.
5.
Impressiveness.
I'm torn apart between 4 and 5, but this time I'm going to give it a 5.
4.
I'll give it 5. You were very impressive, although you had some mistakes. I heard them, but still.
29%. Yeah.
But still.
If Dana, do you know which mark I would give you if I were a judge?
No. Which one?
Guess. For impressiveness.
4.
4. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dear audience and members of the jury, I would like to present you my quote: "We must not allow the clock and the calendar to blind us to the fact that each moment of life is a miracle and mystery." Herbert Wells. I agree with this quote. We are often very busy with our everyday routine, and we are often short of time. We have some urgent things to attend to. Therefore, however, if we stop, if we take a break and appreciate the moment, we will see a lot of things that are worth our attention. It can be a call to a friend, a walk on your own, or an unplanned visit. They can give us energy or reassurance we need. For example, in the movie Castaway, the main character was constantly trying to keep himself busy. He didn't want to waste a minute. He was very upset when the bus was just 2 minutes late. He even proposed to his girlfriend in the car hurrying on a business trip. But the plane in which he was flying crashed, and the main character was brought to a desert island for 3 years. All those 3 years, he didn't keep the track of time. He began to notice to such a life and began to notice and appreciate things that he had never noticed before. But on the other hand, the calendar sometimes makes us think that we have a lot of days ahead of us and we don't need to act now. We can postpone important things for later, thinking that we will have time to complete them. Have you read the story by Postovsky, A Telegram? In the story there was an old lady who had an only daughter, but they lived in different cities. The old lady rarely wrote to her daughter, fearing to disturb her. But her daughter didn't read the letters. She thought if mother wrote, then she was alive, and then forgot about letters. Once, when the daughter was arranging an exhibition, her mother wrote to her to come, but she just crumpled the telegram. They hadn't seen each other for more than 3 years, and she still wasn't going to come to see her. There was a sculpture of Gogol at her exhibition, and she felt a reproachful look of the sculpture, and only after that she decided to visit her mother. But it was too late. She arrived on the 2nd day after her mother's funeral. Therefore, I believe that it is necessary to appreciate every moment and not to postpone things if there is an opportunity to do them today, because time is more precious than we think. Thank you for your attention.
Informativeness, Konstantin Leibovich.
Informativeness 5.
5.
5.
Persuasiveness.
5.
5.
5.
Impressiveness.
5.
5.
5.
5. Thank you. From me, 5 too.
Shall I say?
You can say.
Well, thank you. First of all, I want to thank you for your efforts, for your results, actually, too. The thing is that I have also seen, concerning you, that you have grown. You have grown. You become better than yourself, and that's the reason why.
And I must say one thing. You haven't made a single mistake. And it is such a rare thing today. I may say maybe you are the second one. So, congratulations.
There was one grammar mistake.
Can you not spoil the impression?
Well, I'm
Please.
sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita.
Okay, go. I think that's it for today. Not for us, obviously, but for you. Guys, we will inform you of.
Wait a second. Let's say a few words to them.
Oh,
as we did to the first group.
You're the first one.
I'm the first. Guys, the impression. I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed judging you. I enjoyed listening to your speeches, and it feels good. And I have seen the growth. Some of you presented speeches last year, and this year you were better. And it feels good that we do some work, you do some work, and you become better. And the first timers, Kola, Ivan,
Eugene.
Evgeny, you were really, really, really good. You got the spirit. You got what we wanted from you. And you worked hard to be successful. Seriously, guys, I hope you learned and enjoyed the experience. Have you enjoyed it? Yes. Thank you for your effort. I'm not going to say anything negative.
Paolo,
Please.
as class manager.
Cecilia, a few words to
Thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you. It was a really decent try. And I remember what we had last year. Last year it was, let me say, that was a disaster in some cases. But this year I can see your progress. You really did your best. And the most important thing is that you came absolutely prepared psychologically for this event.
Yes,
and,
that's true.
That's what made a really decent try. So thank you. Yes, we've got still some really launches to fill, but I feel that we're on the right path. Yes, and you will do even better next year. So good luck.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed two moments. Firstly, I enjoyed literature and historical arguments that are in your speeches. That's really good. Also, the English language level is really high. I really enjoyed it. There are few mistakes, but I want you to try to perform on public. So body language, intonation, some emotions are really important and significant in orators tournaments. So bear this in mind.
Yes. Speaking by examples, Christina, the way you have outlined your quote using different substances and how they react to hardship, using all these metaphors, great. I should tell it to you.
What about that word she used, ubiquitousness?
It's unprecedented, I think. It has never been used in this tournament. Konstantin, your last word. Make it last.
Me or Christina?
Your last word. Make it last.
Make it last.
No.
Okay. It's going to be last.
No,
however, I'm expecting someone.
Make it remember. Your word. Make it.
Okay. Memorable. Okay.
Memorable.
Well, first of all, again, I want to thank each and every one of you, especially those who found it extremely hard to learn speeches, to write speeches, learn speeches. It's a hard process, I know. It's a hard psychology-wise and learning-wise. It's difficult. I know it's difficult. So much thank you and much love and appreciation for your efforts. I know this. Thank you, guys. I didn't like a few students today, and I suggest we listen to them once more.
Vladimir as well.
Yes.
Nikita, Vladimir.
Yes, and I think Sandra as well.
Sandra, if you wish.
Where is she?
Well, we'll discuss it later.
I will tell her.
It doesn't matter now. Anyway, guys, a big thank you. And we'll count. We have one more group. The 6th graders haven't spoken yet. And we'll see the table and we'll see the scores. And I think after the lunch, we'll see those who have been very, very presentable in the first tour, in the second tour. Right?
Hello, dear members of the jury and audience. I've chosen a quote by a world-famous writer, William Golding. Allow me to introduce you to it. I think women are stupid for pretending they're equal to men. They're much better and always have been. I may be wrong, but I believe that by this statement, Golding meant that women accept all the humiliation from men and start underestimating themselves. I agree with this quote, but it took me a long time to understand it. In my opinion, a lack of self-confidence has been haunting women for a very long time. As far as I'm concerned, that women are much stronger than they seem. They're of course smart and hardy. There are a few men who can understand how difficult women's part in society is. A striking example of this is Marilyn Monroe. Another fine example is main characters from Little Women. However, there are people who do not support this opinion and believe that women are inferior to men. They attribute this to the fact that women have made a few discoveries and read a few books. With all due respect, I have to disagree with this point. Despite many restrictions of the past, women have done so many things for great significance. For example, thank you. Stem cell isolation was created by Anne Tsukamoto. Her contribution to the study of this process will help develop a cure for cancer. Even though men stole a lot of women's discoveries, but the names of great women have come down to us, such as Marie Curie, Coco Chanel, Catherine II, for Sandra, and a lot of others. In conclusion, I would like to say that women have always been strong, but they need to learn to believe in themselves again. Thank you very much for your attention.
Informativeness 5.
5.
Persuasiveness 5.
5.
Impressiveness, I'll say the last. Platon.
5. No, 4, because of grammar mistakes and pronunciation.
Anastasia Dmitrievna?
Okay, I'll need 4. There were mistakes also.
I have decided to be the last, so that I can make the final decision, and for me it will be 5.
Yes,
It was super impressive.
It's such a progress, right?
It is. Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Hello, dear members of the jury and audience. I want to introduce to you the quote by Joe Rowan, Tolkien, "Deeds will not be less valiant, they are in praise." I completely agree with this quote. I made realize that all my life I had secretly kind of wanted someone to praise me. A praise for me, like fuel for a car. When I get praised, I want to move forward. Our society has created such an environment that most people need constant praise. Social networks are proof of this. In all sorts of ways, people are in all sorts of ways, people are trying to win ratings and likes through the network. Most of them has lost sight of purpose why they have their accounts, and they share posts and photos just to get positive feedback. Let's remember the story The New Clothes of Empire by Hans Christian Andersen. The emperor always demanded the praise, and in the end, all their compliments were lies, and he was deceived by all his court. Still, praise can encourage us. It is normal to feel happy when a teacher praises your work. You feel
When teacher praises your work, you feel confident and teacher show his appreciation. For example, I was the weakest in the sport group. I was bullied by the guys there, but only coach always support me, and so I begin believe in myself more. A teacher who support character can be found in the story The Lessons of French by Rasputin. Even though it was difficult to the main character to pronounce French words, but the teacher always support and encourage him. Soon he made progress in French and feel more confident in general. To conclude, I would like to say, when we don't get praise, we shouldn't get discouraged. It doesn't mean that we do something wrong. We shouldn't be addicted to praise. It won't raise our self-esteem. Vice versa, it can mislead us. Thank you for your attention.
May I start?
Yes, please. Time, please, guys.
Okay, so speech informativeness. I give that 5.
5.
Persuasiveness.
5.
5.
Impressiveness.
I'm torn apart between 4 and 5.
Choose. Fast.
Okay. Who's faster, Jack? 4.
Platon?
4.
Tamara, you sounded good.
Yes.
You made mistakes,
Yes.
but you sounded good.
Yes.
With good pronunciation. Thank you. For not a bad start. Yes, please.
Hello, dear audience and members of the jury. Today I would like to present to you the phrase by William Golding. I really do think that art that doesn't communicate is useless. I understand this phrase as follows. If some art, be it a sculpture or a painting or a song, does not carry some thoughts or meaning, or if it doesn't get across any idea, then this art is useless. Moreover, I think that this message should be understandable to the people, because they should be able to grasp the underlying idea, otherwise there is no communication between the author and his audience. Art that communicates develops our thinking. So it gives us benefit. Based on this, I agree with this quote. For example, Malevich, with his painting Black Square, tells us that in the age of cameras, painting has lost their meaning of excision. Now the art need to give us some information, not just be beautiful. Or, for example, the John Cage's music piece 433. There's absolutely no music in this place. The author just goes out and sits 7 minutes quietly. This piece is a mirror that gives us the information when we came to the auditory. We bring noises, whispers, ruthless, and also it gives us information that there is a lot of music around us. However, some people may say that the art that doesn't communicate is useful too. For example, a background music such as sound of rain. It doesn't give us any information or doesn't communicate with us, but it relaxed us and that's why it gives us pleasure. Summing up, I would say that I think art must not give us any information, it just needs to give us pleasure or benefit. Thank you.
Константин Олегович?
All right, I can help with this.
Yes, yes.
So, speech informativeness. Five. Persuasive rhetoric. Five.
Impressiveness?
Impressiveness. 4.
5.
Sounds. Next.
And much more that I'm not gonna say, but you know. And I hope you'll learn from this experience.
However, I must say, I really loved
The beginning.
Not only the beginning, but intonation, the way, the acting part.
And progress. So, we'll tell you, я думаю, что по-русски, да, несколько слов, вообще вот как-то подытожить ваш опыт, ваши усилия, работу. Константин Ильич, вы как ведущий преподаватель, начните, пожалуйста.
Да, я в принципе сказал в самом начале, если повторю сейчас. Смотрите, значит, понимаю, что тяжело, первый раз, волнительно, ребят, мы все через это проходим каждый год, и каждый год 6 класс новый, правильно? Тут посложнее, посложнее. Вот кто рассказал, и даже, кстати, никто не рассказал, мне интересно, какой ваш искренний ответ на вопрос, неужели это было так сложно? Ведь на самом деле, больше я вам желаю выползать из зоны комфорта, а это делать придется. И все-таки речь укорочена, да? Или не укорочена. И рассказать Маргоша, я очень надеюсь услышать. Я знаю, что ты умеешь, и что ты не умеешь.
Мне кажется, тоже есть какая-то определенная храбрость в том, что
безусловно,
на вторую попытку, вот,
да, конечно,
я могу сделать хорошо, почему я должна сделать плохо?
Совершенно верно. Я очень хочу потом услышать, потому что знаю, как ты умеешь делать, и я это хочу еще раз услышать. Это всегда было достойно. Окей? Саш, то же самое. Надо поговорить. Другой подход. Все. От меня все. Поздравляю вас еще раз. На самом деле, некоторые, смотрите, прям даже неплохо излучали гораздо лучше, чем то, что я слышал раньше. Это точно абсолютно. И большое, огромное вам спасибо за ваши старания и усилия, те, кто их приложил и получил результат. Спасибо.
Ну, вы сейчас находитесь на начальном этапе, первое для многих у вас выступление. Единственное, что вы должны сейчас набираться опыта, и мой вам совет, не бойтесь экспериментировать никогда, что вам всегда поможет жестикуляция. Вы не должны учить речь наизусть, это вообще не нужно, если вы думаете, вот я убью сейчас времени на это 3 часа, и ничего не получу. Вы должны просто понимать, о чем вы говорите, и вы должны быть заинтересованы в цитате, которую вы опровергаете, либо доказываете. То есть вы должны просто чувствовать себя свободно, максимально раскованно на сцене, и тем самым притягивать к себе слушателей, в том числе и жюри. Поэтому вот мой вам совет. Ну, спасибо вам за положительные эмоции и впечатления. Удачи вам.
Продолжение предыдущей речи. Раскованно будете тогда, когда вы будете полностью готовы. Когда вы нервничать начнете не здесь или не за день до этого, а хотя бы за недельку. Да, напишите, предложите свои какие-то варианты, да, и вам так будет проще. Я благодарна тем, кто услышал меня вовремя, кто постарался. Спасибо вам большое, было действительно приятно слушать. Конечно же, есть еще ошибки. Ну, 6 класс, да, все-таки, да, английский еще. Нам есть над чем работать. Ну, я надеюсь, что те, кто сегодня не очень был успешен, все-таки вынесут какие-то уроки из этого опыта. И надеюсь на ваш дальнейший успех. Спасибо в любом случае, поздравляю вас с первым опытом.
Спасибо.
Поздравляю, ребят, да, мне на самом деле сложно, чтобы сказать такое, что вот будет иметь для вас значение, потому что я с вами особо не работаю, и не знаю, как вы можете, не знаю, как вы английский, то есть мне сложно сказать, вот это вот было лучше, чем вы можете, или было хуже, чем вы можете, потому что в любом случае смотрим каждого относительно себя, да, не то, что вот, допустим, кто-то вас, это элемент соревнования, но все равно вы соревнуетесь, вот, в принципе, с самим собой. И вот насколько вы были успешны в этом плане, я сказать не могу, потому что вас не очень хорошо знаю. Но, если честно, видно, насколько каждый постарался, вложился, заинтересовался, попытался. И мне хочется верить, что в следующий раз вы постараетесь побольше и получше, и попробуйте и речь составить, и подготовиться к ней, и произнести ее иначе. Да? Вот вы чуть-чуть некоторые попробовали быть спикерами, но в следующий год уже 7 класс, уже у вас есть опыт, уже надо быть лучше. И я уже вам точно могу сказать, получилось у вас это или нет, потому что видела вас в этом году. Спасибо большое. Кто пройдет во второй тур, мы сейчас посмотрим, сведем результаты всех групп, мы вас пригласим. Сейчас вы можете спокойно идти обедать.
Собрались, сколько? Года 2 не собирались на ораторский турнир? Да. Очень рада, что вот это вот одиночество уходит, а мы опять собираемся здесь, в нашем прекрасном, уютном, семейном актовом зале. Именно так я его воспринимаю, работая в этой школе уже 16 лет. Потому что через этот зал проходит, в общем-то, и в этом зале проходит вся наша жизнь. Мы выпускаем ребят, да, когда выходят. Мы здесь с ними прощаемся, последний звонок, мы здесь. Согласны с вами? Все наши замечательные мероприятия проходят тоже в этом зале. И он нам помогает. Помогает, и думаю, что сегодня тоже поможет. И то, что мы проводим сегодняшний турнир ораторский, это тоже замечательно. Мы возвращаемся к нашим традициям. А это наша ромовская традиция. В этом году мы в одиночестве, но, надеюсь, на следующий год к нам приедут другие частные школы и нечастные школы. Вот кто маленький, они не знают, что к нам приезжают со всего района, так или нет? Даже со всей Москвы. Вот такие у нас проходили 2 года назад.
Больше 100 людей.
Да, конечно. Но пока мы в этом году больше собрать не можем, потому что только, сами понимаете, закончился ковид, как бы закончился, скажем так. И поэтому мы здесь с вами все вместе. И я этому факту очень рада. Я вас поздравляю, что вы прошли во второй тур. Я так понимаю, что здесь собрались сильнейшие из сильнейших. И это замечательно. Я хочу пожелать вам всем удачи и, конечно, победы. Пока мы будем сейчас с вами брать темы, сейчас я скажу, в каком порядке мы будем это делать, я бы хотела, чтобы вы обратили внимание вот на то, что я здесь вам написала. Это памятка. Памятка будущего оратора. Вот пока будете готовиться, иногда на нее поглядывайте. Не спеши, говори выразительно, войди в образ, будь актером. Жестикулируй, жест это тоже слово, но сказанное руками. Постарайся удивить, заинтересовать нас, слушателей, жюри. Никому не интересно слушать давно известные истины. Используй ораторские приемы. Риторические вопросы, восклицания, обращения. Таким образом ты привлечешь внимание, заставишь слушателя думать, вызвешь его на диалог. Оперируй образами. Тогда твоя речь станет яркой, запоминающейся. Старайся никого не обидеть своим высказыванием. Не приводи дурные примеры из жизни присутствующих в зале слушателей. Обращайся к авторитетам, ученым, писателям, мыслителям. Тогда тебе поверят. Не забудь сделать вывод. Убеди слушателей в своей правоте и поблагодари публику за внимание. Так поглядывайте туда, хорошо? Я думаю, что для начинающих это очень хорошая памятка, а для тех, кто уже не раз вспомнит. Судить сегодняшний наш ораторский турнир будут наши уважаемые преподаватели и старшеклассник. Вы уже с ними знакомы, да? Платон Валентиновна, преподаватель. Алексей Олегович, преподаватель. Анастасия Дмитриевна, и Наталья Михайловна, преподаватель английского языка. Поэтому еще раз поздравляю вас. Я надеюсь, что сегодня мы получим удовольствие от общения друг с другом, потому что этот зал, он именно такой располагает к этому. Ведь сюда же мы приходим со всеми нашими, когда собираемся, радостями, горестями, так или нет?
Да.
Да. Особенно, когда была Мария Михайловна, да, она всегда нас сюда приглашала для того, чтобы поблагодарить или наоборот поругать, или что-то нам сообщить, да? Так. Поэтому будем помнить о том, что это наша обитель. И вообще мы с вами ромовская семья. Помним об этом?
Здравствуйте, уважаемые члены жюри и аудитория. Сегодня мне попалась цитата Стефана Цвейга: «Можно сбежать от чего угодно, только не от самого себя». Я понимаю эту цитату так. Внутри каждого из нас живут своего рода демоны, которых мы скрываем под внешней оболочкой. Люди вокруг нас видят лишь идеальную картинку, но только мы сами знаем, кто мы на самом деле. Я согласна с этой цитатой, и в пример я приведу персонажа из моего любимого сериала «Сверхъестественное» Сэма Винчестера. Со стороны все считали его идеальным братом, идеальным сыном и другом. Но только сам Сэм знал, что он не такой. В своей голове он был монстром. Но он этого не показывал другим. Он пытался отрицать свое нутро и сбежать от самого себя. Но все мы понимаем, что это невозможно. Второй пример можно взять из собственной жизни. Ведь все мы знаем, кто мы на самом деле. Мы показываем только хорошую сторону себя, пытаясь сбежать от своего внутреннего мира. У нас это не получается, и поэтому мы придумываем себе образ. Но все мы знаем, что на самом-то деле мы не идеальны. В заключении я хотела бы сказать, что мы можем или даже в какой-то степени должны скрывать свое настоящее нутро. Но для себя мы должны принять его, внутреннего себя. Даже если вас будут за это порицать, осуждать, вы не должны стесняться самого себя. Спасибо за внимание.
Содержательность, информативность.
4.
5. 4. Логичность речи. 4. 5. И выразительность, красота речи. Все-таки 5. 5. А вот здесь я поставлю 4. Много читала, смотрела в листок.
Спасибо большое.
Почему тебе ручка? А сколько минут у меня? Ой, там 2 минуты с чем-то. Рассмотрела я.
Можно начинать?
Да, конечно.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые члены жюри и аудитория. Это мой первый ораторский турнир. Я немножко нервничаю, поэтому надеюсь на ваше понимание. Итак, мне выпала цитата Николая Васильевича Гоголя: «Быть в мире и ничем не обозначить своего существования, это кажется мне ужасно». Я понимаю эту цитату так, что если человек, пока он живет, не сделает что-то, что привлечет внимание других людей, после его смерти о нем никто не вспомнит. Он останется забытым, и даже буквально через каких-то 100 лет ни одна живая душа на земле не вспомнит, что ты был, что ты жил, сколько всего ты прошел, и вся твоя жизнь по итогу окажется абсолютно бесценной и уйдет в небытие. Я считаю, что у каждого человека подсознательно есть желание чем-то отличиться, оказаться в центре внимания, получить некую популярность. Ребят, те, кто боятся и ничего не оставить после себя в жизни, можете поднять руку сейчас? Я хочу увидеть, сколько вас.
Почти ползала.
Ползала. 50% это много.
Много.
Да. То есть сейчас мы можем посмотреть друг на друга и понять, что очень многие из нас похожи в этом страхе. Я потерялась, извините.
Ничего страшного.
Да. К примеру, мы знаем очень много выдающихся людей. Я сегодня рассказывала про выдающихся женщин. И обычно человек после себя оставляет либо потомство, своих детей, свою кровь, либо новые изобретения, открытия, предметы искусства, литературные произведения, конечно же. И все это хранится в нашей истории, все это присутствует и в наших жизнях, в жизни других людей. И вот у меня есть несколько примеров. Вы знаете фильм «Величайший шоумен»? Можете похлопать, если видели? Да. Вы, наверное, знаете, что это документальный фильм про мужчину, который сначала хотел заработать денег, а потом нашел призвание своей жизни и стал популярным. И как раз-таки он сделал открытие, он придумал шоу-бизнес как таковой, который до сих пор присутствует в наших жизнях. Я не думаю, что он боялся не обозначить свое существование, но по итогу он сделал то, что до него никто не делал. В заключение мне хотелось бы сказать, что не нужно бояться остаться безызвестным, потому что по итогу все, что вы испытываете, останется с вами. Но было бы неплохо, если бы наши потомки узнали про наши жизни. Спасибо большое за внимание.
Так, 3 минуты 50. Итак, содержательность, информативность речи. 4.
3.
4.
4.
4. Логичность речи. 3.
4.
4.
4.
Объясняю. Заключение противоречит тезису, который был указан в начале, как тот, с которым ты соглашаешься, а в процессе рассказа скакание в разные понимания темы. Поэтому логики мне показалось недостаточно.
Выразительность, красота речи. 4.
4.
4.
5.
5.
5.
Раз. Начнем. Здравствуйте, дорогая аудитория, участники жюри. Мне досталась фраза: «Высшее доказательство любви – это подчинение воле того, кого любишь». Мольер. Я понимаю эту фразу так, что ты настолько любишь какого-то человека, что готов подчиниться его воле, то есть лишиться части своей свободы выбора. Ты беспрекословно слушаешься его, во всем ему подчиняешься и так далее. В пример к этому для младшей нашей аудитории я приведу мультик про 3 богатырей и шамаханскую царицу, в которой князь Руси настолько полюбил шамаханскую царицу, что отдал ей свое царство и был готов сделать все, что угодно, так как, например, собрал слезы всех девиц с своей страны. Для взрослой нашей аудитории и жюри я приведу пример из «Бедной Лизы», где главная героиня так влюбилась в... Так влюбилась в Эраста, что не послушала свою маменьку и совершила неподобающее дело. Вот. Но многие могут со мной не согласиться и сказать, что полное подчинение – это не самое большое доказательство, что есть много других, и есть такие примеры, когда человек правда любит кого-то, но, однако, не подчиняется его словам. Такие, например, как в «Царевне лягушке» царевич, несмотря на то, что лягушка сказала ему не выкидывать шкурку в огонь, все равно это сделал. На этом у меня все. Благодарю за то, что выслушали.
Так, 2 минуты, 3 секунды. Итак, содержательность, информативность речи. Все-таки 5.
4.
5.
5. Пожалуйста. Вот у нас поставлено.
2 четвертых.
2 четвертых,
2
да?
четвертых.
Извините. Логичность речи. 4. Дальше.
4.
4.
3 просто. 3.
Так, 3, 4, 4.
Да.
Платон, слушаем тебя.
Ну, во-первых, именно в структуре речи отсутствует заключение. Я его не услышал. Я услышал только обратную позицию. Во-вторых, качество аргументов.
Платон, качество аргументов, критерии содержательности.
Прошу прощения.
Ну, последнее, то, что ты сказал, это верно. Да, отсутствие заключения, это верно. Да, абсолютно, да. Все хорошо? Да. Теперь выразительность, красота речи. 4.
4.
4.
Я 5 поставлю. Мне Сашка прям вот нравится, как он рассуждает, прям вот, не знаю. Вот лично мне очень нравится, как он говорит. Говорит он хорошо. Были ошибки, да? Я не заметила.
У него интересные ораторские приемы.
Да?
Подход.
Ну, не знаю.
Но это не красота речи, мне кажется.
Подождите.
Немножко разные.
А что, были у него грамматические, речевые ошибки?
Конечно, были.
Я прослушала. Саш, я в тебя, видимо, тут влюблена. И все равно я тебе ставлю 5.
Здравствуйте, уважаемые члены жюри. Трудно не согласиться с мнением писателя, утверждающего то, что сделанный шаг придает силы. Я понимаю эту цитату так. Опыт – это сильная сила, которая может быть в жизни. Например, в мультике «Смешарики» персонажи хорошо дружат друг с другом. Я считаю, что эта дружба могла быть потому, что кто-то сделал первый шаг и мог заговорить с друзьями. Можно посмотреть с другой точки зрения. Могут быть такие случаи, когда первый шаг тебе придает боль. В завершение я хочу сказать о том, что все хорошие или великие дела делаются из первого шага. Спасибо.
Минута 0,5.
Итак, содержательность, информативность речи. 4.
4.
4.
4. Логичность речи.
4.
4.
4. Выразительность, красота речи. 4.
4.
4.
4. Спасибо. Слышно.
Так, сегодня мне выпала честь представить цитату Жан-Жака Руссо. Оскорбление – это обычные доводы тех, кто не прав. Итак, для меня автор, в моем понимании автор хотел нам сказать о том, что если вы действительно уверенный в себе человек, у вас есть свои духовные ценности, вы не станете оскорблять людей, вы будете им помогать. Я думаю, доказательство этому я могу привести из рассказа Андрея Платонова «Юшка». Мне кажется, что это правильно, потому что именно в этом рассказе Юшка, отказывающий себе во всем, делал благое дело для девочки, в то время как его все оскорбляли, унижали, даже не подозревая о том, насколько он был прав в своей позиции, и в итоге оказались неправыми. Но, мне кажется, некоторые люди могут со мной не согласиться и привести аргумент тем, что, обычной жизнью. Нас ругает мама, ты не сделал уроки. Она нас ругает, может даже обозвать. Конечно же, это неприятно, но тем не менее мама права. Ты виноват, что ты не сделал уроки. Ты виноват, что ты получил плохую оценку. И в заключение я хочу сказать, что неважно, какой человек сделал поступок, если ты действительно понимаешь, что ты не прав или что-то случилось не то, никогда не оскорбляй, то есть имей свое собственное достоинство. Спасибо за внимание.
2 минуты 10. Итак, содержательность, информативность. 5. Алексей Юрьевич.
5.
5.
5.
5. Логичность речи. 5.
4.
5.
4.
4. Выразительность, красота речи. 4.
5.
4. Спасибо большое. Миша Бичваридзе, пожалуйста. Вот и закончился наш ораторский турнир. Конечно, у нас есть победитель, и сейчас я его назову. Мы не будем сегодня оглашать все баллы, вы сможете их увидеть завтра или сегодня попозже на стенде. Наталья Михайловна их вывесит, посмотрите, какие баллы вы набрали и по-английскому, и по-русскому, и в общем. Все понятно, да? Да. Братцы мои, победителем нашего ораторского турнира, 16-го билингвального ораторского турнира стала Екатерина Латорцева. Моя девочка, да, очень нам приятно, что ты такой вот оказалась у нас глубокой девочкой. Книжка тебе и подарочная. одержали все своеобразную, каждый для себя победу. Согласны со мной?
Да.
Давайте. Хорошего вечера всем.
Спасибо.
Так, сидим. У нас сегодня, я забыла, я уже выговорилась. У нас сегодня члены жюри вам скажут несколько слов, хорошо? Татьяна Алексеевна, пожалуйста.
Во-первых, вы все молодцы, потому что выложиться на английской части, не схалтурить и благодаря этому выйти сюда, это вы уже, смотрите, как нас мало. Я ожидала, у нас будет больше. Поэтому все, кто дошел до второго тура, герои. Молодцы, что собрались, кто нервничал, преодолели свою тревожность, свое волнение. И все справились. Ну, нас
Не, извините, все нормально.
Справились. Так что еще раз восхищаюсь, благодарю, молодцы. И уверена, что в следующий раз получится лучше. Обязательно. А вот маленький комментарий нашей победительницы. Катюш, умница. Вы все слышали, и вы могли соотносить с другими выступлениями. Что сделала Катя? Поняла высказывание. Потому что примерно половина выступавших говорили мимо цитаты, мимо ее смысла. Иногда совсем далеко, совсем не связано. Она поняла. Она осталась в рамках этой мысли. Она ее прокомментировала. А потом, совсем здорово, обратилась к аргументам, весомым из серьезных литературных произведений. Причем меня просто восхитило, Катюш, что ты у нас совсем недавно, что вот несколько недель, и вот за эти вот недели, то, что мы успели прочитать на уроках, ты умудрилась идеально использовать. Умница. То есть человек, который, как многие из наших новеньких, не очень читал произведения в предыдущей школе, а включился в работу, сумел свои знания не просто за них пятерку на уроках получить, а использовать для достижения своей цели. И это было здорово. Катюш, конечно, у тебя было много речевых ошибок и так далее, но всего 7 класс. Так что ты еще все это исправишь и будешь вообще блестящий. Потому что когда семиклашечка побеждает, у нас такое было один раз. Помните вашу ученица Маша Марченко была победительницей, блестящая девочка. Вот из класса вместе с Платоном она училась. Вот у нас семиклашка. Это так здорово.
6 класс.
Катюш, браво. И еще раз всем спасибо, вы молодцы.
Алексей Олегович, пожалуйста.
Я тоже от всей души благодарю вас за терпение. Я понимаю, наверное, я понимаю, как это было сегодня тяжело и непривычно. Все-таки опыта у нас маловато в этом мероприятии в последние годы. Но я надеюсь, что вы также физически ощутили, насколько сложно рассуждать, тем более рассуждать устно, но это умение, которым вам стоит овладеть, пригодится вам и на экзаменационных сочинениях, и при написании итогового сочинения, и в будущем на ораторском турнире, поэтому я верю в то, что вы только начали путь к совершенству. Единственное, что я хочу вот наиболее выделить, что бросалось и в глаза, и в уши сегодня, это недостаточная аргументация. Обратите, пожалуйста, внимание, что самое весомое в рассуждении это аргументация у вас слабовата. Вашего жизненного опыта, слава богу, еще не хватает для того, чтобы набрать там достаточно аргументации, а вот искать ее нужно в биографиях великих, ну и в литературе, и мало сегодня было ссылок на произведения литературы, а цитаты как раз к этому подталкивали. И, конечно, спасибо лунтикам со смешариками, но давайте вспомним о великой русской литературе, о мировой литературе в следующий раз, и в качестве аргументов выберем все-таки посолиднее произведения. Хорошо?
Слово Наталье Михайловне. Наталья Михайловна.
Настя,
Хорошо, я не знала.
Ребят, я хочу сказать то, что это был ваш опыт. я хочу, чтобы воспринимали вы это как опыт, и отметить храбрость всех тех, которые оказались во втором туре. И, конечно, мне кажется, не так важно, как вам выступить, но важно, чтобы вы попробовали. Да, получилось по-разному, да, недопоняли, да, может быть, не подобрали там пример адекватный, особенно который кажется адекватным учителю литературы, но вы попробовали. Это очень важно, потому что вы знаете, что у нас есть такая тенденция, что даже английские речи, когда мы готовим вас к английскому туру, есть стремление что-то недоучить, себя где-то недопоказать, чтобы, не дай бог, не оказаться во втором туре. Но вот вы, пожалуйста, сейчас пойдете в массы, к тем, кто не прошел. Вы поделитесь с ними, что это, ну, во-первых, не так страшно, как кажется. Правда ведь?
Вообще нет.
Во-вторых, мы готовы поддержать и отметить что-то у каждого. Правда ведь? Правда ведь? И
в-третьих, владение ораторским искусством – это ваше будущее. Там,
Да.
где вы будете, когда уйдете из школы, это очень помогает в жизни. Можно сказать, одна из составляющих, поверьте, это так.
И я поймала свою мысль обратно, не смогу ее закончить. Вы знаете, любой навык можно развить. Я в это верю. И каждый может любой навык развить. И вот сегодня у вас где-то недополучилось. Но это вообще ничего не значит, что вы это не можете, вы к этому не способны. Читайте, да даже смотрите на английском, на русском. И вы начнете проводить эти параллели, вы начнете видеть связи, аналогии. Ваша речь от того, что вы воспринимаете этот поток информации, станет интереснее. Вам проще будет выразить свою мысль. И это не будет казаться вам чем-то, что вас попросили сделать «О май гад». Я прошел во второй тур, что же мне теперь делать? Все, я передаю слово.
Пожалуйста.
Спасибо огромное за этот опыт. Для нас это тоже опыт. И особенно, я думаю, что ценный был сегодня урок с учетом того, что и опыт, с учетом того, что давно у нас не было таких мероприятий. И показывает действительно, что это очень полезно для вас, навыки бесценные, которые вы здесь приобретаете. Что хочется вам пожелать? Расширять, наверное, круг своих интересов, больше читать, больше смотреть, обсуждать, может быть, друг с другом, потому что ораторский турнир показывает уровень вашей эрудиции, развития. Здесь ничего не подготовишь заранее, да, во втором туре, во всяком случае. И очень важно, конечно же, к этому готовиться, но готовиться не так, как вы готовитесь к первому туру, да, что вот у вас есть речь, вы ее написали, подготовили, а готовиться в течение долгого времени, больше читать, больше узнавать. Хочу вам пожелать удачи в дальнейшем. Я думаю, что каждый вынесет какой-то свой урок для себя. У вас заложен огромный потенциал, я уверена. И вы знаете, может быть, гораздо больше, чем вам кажется. Просто важно вот за эти 10 минут, которые вам даны, эту информацию из себя выудить, извините за такое слово. Да, это ужасно. Я понимаю, что это очень сложно, очень тяжело для вас, но я уверена, что у вас все получится. Спасибо.
Ну и вы сами понимаете, не дать слово старшекласснику я не могу.
Ну, во-первых, я очень ценю вообще это мероприятие в нашей школе, потому что оно действительно полезно для будущей жизни большинства из вас, потому что вас ждет карьера, работа, и без коммуникации с людьми плодотворной ничего не добьешься. Переход во второй тур для вас всех это победа, причем достаточно весомая победа, и никогда не надо упускать такую возможность. Это дает вам навыки быстро мыслить, быстро доказывать свою точку зрения и убеждать других в своей точке зрения. Этим надо всегда пользоваться. Всегда, если у вас получилось перейти во второй тур, надо этой возможностью пользоваться. Огромное вам спасибо, я получил удовольствие. Литературные аргументы тоже порадовали, потому что в большинстве своем они были прямо в точку, как говорится. В общем, это дает вам мотивацию, это мероприятие.
В английском туре.
Да, да.
Вот.
Это мероприятие
Содержательно
дает вам мотивацию на получение новых знаний, чтобы вы становились все более любопытными и жадными в плане знаний. Это очень ценно. Пользуйтесь этим. Спасибо.
Ребят, Конечно. Огромное вам всем спасибо. Все, кто вышел во второй тур, получат еще 5 по литературе и по английскому языку.
А по-русски?
Еще и по-русскому, согласна. По 3 пятерки по-русски. Да. Ну, а закончить я хотела словами. Как здорово, что все мы сегодня